I had no idea this was happening. By the way, my curls are everywhere today. Just ignore them. It's fine. I actually really like it. I kind of look like a lion. And I did different blush placement today. Anyway, I had no idea that the internet was actually upset about the news that was shared a couple of days ago. I found out, along with the rest of the world, that Millie Bobby Brown has adopted a little girl. And my first thought was, wow, that's amazing. Like, my heart was like, oh my gosh, like, Millie Bobby Brown, Millie Bobby Brown. Obviously, I understand everything. Like, I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Like, for her to start her family, to kind of expand her and her husband's world, she has now entered into motherhood, and she has now allowed a little girl into their life. There is a child who has been adopted by Millie and her husband. Like, that is so amazing. And then, come to find out, I see other people making videos, and I see all these comments talking about how Millie Bobby Brown is too young to be adopting. 21, she's too young to be adopting. Whoa. I see that you are 26. Where's your kid? Where's your husband and millions of dollars? Where's your hugely successful business? Where's your organizations? Where's your charity work with UNICEF? Where's that? You don't have that? Okay. But Millie Bobby Brown does. Millie Bobby Brown has been, I thought we understood that when you are thrust into the adult world at a younger age, you grow up faster. On top of that, you make more money, you have more resources, and the girl is married. She has been working far longer than I have. I'm a full 6 years older than Millie Bobby Brown, and she has been working longer than me. Because why? Because she started working when she was like 8. I didn't do that. What was I doing at 8? Not working. I was not working. I was not making any money of any sort. I was not held to a responsible standard. I was not nothing was expected of me other than to get good grades in school. And that was it. That was my job. And I had things, I had things, but I didn't have a job. Most kids at 8 years old don't have a job. Most 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Most people don't get a job until they're 16, 17. And for me personally, I didn't get a job until I was 18. I did not work. I did not make any money. I did not contribute anything at all to my family, to myself, until I was around 18 years old or older. And Millie has been doing that for far longer than I have, and is still doing that. And the fact that people have an issue with her having a child, her adopting and bringing a child into her world, her very resourceful, very big world, not once did it cross my... You know why? Sometimes when you find out people are getting married young, or when they're having a child young, especially someone who works with parents, works with kids all the time, and sees this all the time, sometimes my heart drops. Sometimes my stomach drops, and I become very upset. Not very upset. In my mind floods with worry. My mind floods with, especially even it doesn't even have to be someone young. It could be someone who I just feel like is kind of going through the motions of what they think life is supposed to look like, and they're not necessarily ready to have a child, in my opinion. I'm like, I think there needs to be a bit more. And it's not like, oh, go live your life, go party. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, do I feel like you are necessarily ready to give what is necessary to raise a child in this world, in this economy, in this environment? Do I think that you have the resources or the support? Do I think that you would genuinely make a good parent, that you would learn the skills of what it takes to be a good parent? Because anyone could be a parent. A 12-year-old could be a parent. Anyone could be a parent. A good parent, that takes more. And do I genuinely think that people my age, sometimes I meet people my age or older who I'm like, no, you don't have that. You're not. I personally, if it was up to me, it's never up to me. Everyone do what you want. I don't think there are people who are parents now who are on their second, third, fourth kids who I'm like, you were never meant to like be in the situation you are in, basically parenting all of these kids. You just don't have the necessary tools to become the parent that you could be. What that child needs, you are not the parent that child needs. And it's unfortunate, and it's the reality. A lot of parents end up being in this situation. A lot of kids end up being in this situation. Not once did it cross my mind, because it does happen with celebrities too. Parasocial relationships are a thing. Not saying that I have a parasocial relationship with Millie Bobby Brown. I'm just saying that it happens with celebrities too. When I find out, for example, that a celebrity is really young and having a child, and it makes me worry a little bit. But especially when I see it in people in my own life, or even like strangers, or just like parents that I get to know, that I'm like, wow, this isn't ideal. However, Millie Bobby Brown's situation is none of that. Her situation is ideal. Do I maybe wish that she was a little older, like 24, 25, say? Sure. But Millie Bobby Brown is not typical. She has... you know what? This video truly is to ease your fears, because if you have an issue with Millie Bobby Brown having a child, then you have no idea who Millie Bobby Brown is. You either think, one, she's a child, she's still 11, she's not. She's 21. And two, you have this weird thing where you think like you need to police people and tell people what to do. What's really weird is that birthing a child at 21 is not as weird as adopting a child at 21. She's already living an unconventional life. She's not living a typical life. She has been a child actor since she was 8. That is not everyone's norm. That is not majority of people's norms. That's not even like 10% of people's norms. She's living a very unique life. She's having a very different experience. And her adopting a child first makes a lot of sense if you know who Millie Bobby Brown is. No one knows her personally, besides the people in her life, but to look at her actions, to look at what she has been saying, to hear her, you would know. Millie Bobby Brown has been dedicating a lot of her life to serving others. She has a dog rescue organization. The girl lives on a farm, and she has planted her parents right next to her. She's surrounded by a community in a village that is going to not only be there for her and help her with this thing that she has now embarked on, which is motherhood. But this is so crazy to like be making a video trying to justify this. Millie Bobby Brown is she is grown. She's a woman. She's married. A lot of y'all criticizing her aren't even married, and you're on your second child. And I know that families look different. You don't need to be married to have a kid, obviously. You don't have to. That's not a requirement. You can find ways around that. I'm just saying, like, a lot of the times, the people pointing the finger are the type of people who want things done correctly. You guys are obsessed with control and correction. You want people to do things the right way, and for you, you're like, you need to be 25, you need to be 27, you need to be older. Why are you adopting a child at 21? You should be adopting a child when you're 30 and you've birthed your own biological kid. That is my mother's mindset, mind you, and I love my mother. She's the best person on this entire planet. But she is also in her mid-50s. Some of you are my age or younger criticizing her, and I think it's insane. Because first of all, if your idea that someone needs to be a lot older in their mid-30s, they need to have their own children before adopting, because that is how a lot of you are thinking. Not only has Millie proved she does not live a typical life, but she lives the type of life where, yeah, she's going to think a little bit before she does something, because, again, she has the time management and the money to do so. She's not just going to jump into stuff. So, she got married young, yes, and she found her person, amazing, and she has everything you would want a child to have, which I'm going to assume is property, resources, a good schooling system around her, probably, family and friends super close. She has all of that. And finances for the child and for her and for everyone, and then some. She has all of that. So I don't understand, besides the fact that she's not a little older and she doesn't already have her own biological children. Besides that, what is the problem? Because Millie has shown from the very beginning that she has worked with UNICEF. She has a rescue dog organization. She has a rescue animals organization. She dedicates a lot of her time to serving others, and she has this reputation. It's what she does. This is not a typical child party story. Like, she's not out somewhere doing something like that's typical for 21-year-olds, or she's not doing something that's like, she's clearly doing things at her pace, and her pace to us looks fast because of how early she started in the race, I guess. I don't know if this metaphor is making a whole lot of sense, but yeah, I don't know. It did never cross my mind once that what Millie was doing was strange or weird or wrong. Wrong? Are you kidding me? I'm so glad a person, especially someone with money, has decided, I have all these resources, I have all these tools at my expense. To me, my first child, the person I want to allow into my life next, is going to be someone I adopt, someone who needs a family, who doesn't currently have one, someone who already exists. I don't need to make my child so that it can continue my legacy or look like myself. Instead, how about I look for a child who needs someone who already is on this earth, already has been abandoned. Like, that's her whole philosophy. She literally runs a rescue service. I don't know a single person who does that. I really just don't. And I work in nonprofit organizations. I don't know a single person who runs their own rescue service or runs a service where they are constantly looking for those in need who have been abandoned. That has been her thing. She's been doing that for a long time. That is ingrained in her. So for her to adopt, it clicked for me. I was like, that makes so much sense. Her first child is going to be through adoption. That makes so much sense. What a beautiful thing. Millie is doing the thing that she has been constantly doing for years now. And she's married. She has a husband. She has her family right at her side. She has the finances that she could possibly... This child is set. This child is set. And I'm so happy for this child. Imagine being adopted by Millie Bobby Brown and Jake Bon Jovi. Incredible. And I don't know them as people. I don't know if they're going to necessarily be the best parents ever. My thing is, they have more than their basics covered, and Millie choosing to go the adoption route first is, or just entirely, whatever she decides to do is up to her, obviously, is beautiful to me. I think that's great, and it makes so much sense to who she has shown us she is. I don't need to know her personally to be like, that makes sense. That tracks. And I think it's a wonderful thing. And I want to one day be in the position where I'm like, wow, look at all this love around me. Look at all this support I have. And look at this big empty house with my partner who's ready and willing to expand this family and allow someone into our lives that, doesn't have to be from my own flesh and blood, but will become that when they enter my family, who needs someone and they don't have anyone. Not a single person is on their side. But guess what? Me, a stranger, I'm going to be on their side, and I'm going to call them family. I'm going to give them the love and the attention that they deserve because I have it. I want to be able to have it, and I want to be able to give it, and Billy does. So I just can't understand how anyone could criticize what is essentially a very, I don't want to call it selfless, although in a lot of ways it is. This is a huge decision, and I'm sure she didn't make it lightly. But I mean, sure, you can consider the other things. Maybe at 21, she doesn't want to be pregnant for 9 months and give birth. And that's choices. When you have everything around you that you need, you have choices, you have freedom. And she has decided this. And I think it's great. I'm pro-adoption. Aren't you guys pro-life and pro-adoption? I just know that if you mean that you want these kids who don't have anyone to have someone. And Millie is that someone for this little girl. And that's beautiful and amazing. And I don't know why anyone would have an issue with that. Had I had all, actually, now that I think about it, although I didn't have the movies and TV show and the money and the finances at 21, I remember at 21, I was finally able to sponsor a little girl. Literally, her name was Ashley, and she lived in Venezuela. And she was incredible. But I sponsored her for, I think, 4 years, which actually is a while ago. But doing that was amazing, and I was able to correspond with her, letters, and that's something I decided to do at 21 with the little resources that I had. But if you are the type of person who wants to give to the world and give to others, then that would be ingrained in you, and you can learn these things. But if Millie decided to do this at such a young age, I think is incredible. And if I was 21 and I was already married with the person that is my partner, and I had what Millie had, I would definitely be doing the same thing, especially if I had the childhood she had. But I didn't. And because some of us are judging from the sidelines, and we have our ideas of what things should be, of how things should go, how the game of life should be played, and are not in the place or position to do what Millie does or to give how Millie gives, maybe we should dial it back and not criticize her. Yeah, that's everything for today. I came in a little harsh. I'm sorry. I'm especially when it comes to when it's either fostering or it's adoption. I feel really strongly about this, especially if anyone brings up the fact that she should have birthed the baby first before adopting one. What? what? I'm sad. I think that thinking, whether Millie wanted to do it or not, had she wanted to do that, she would have done that, I'm sure. Or if she was able, like, whatever. But that's not what she wanted, and that's not what she did. And I think this decision, it breathes life into another person in a completely different way. And that's beautiful. So that's all. If you have an issue with it, I want you to think about why you have an issue with it. And unless you have been fostering and adopting yourself, or you have plans to in the future, unless you are on your third adopted child, I don't know. The point is, you are not Millie, and Millie is doing a good thing, and we are upset about a good thing. No, we're not. We're not. We are happy about this. The point is, if you think she's too young, if you think that she needs more, then you are mistaken. Listen to what I'm saying. The girl has lived a different life. She is beyond. Like, beyond. And I'm not even the craziest Millie Bobby Brown fan in the world. That is not the case here. I'm stating facts. The girl has been working since she was 8. Okay? That is not the life that you and I have lived. Most of us. So the girl wants to adopt at 21. She's surrounded by her friends and family. She has her partner, and she has everything she needs. That child is blessed. That child is blessed. And maybe you're jealous you're not the child. I don't know who I'm talking to. Hopefully nobody who follows me feels this way. I think it's fantastic. We want this. Oh, there are children out there right now who need someone, and people are so busy on continuing their bloodline and their legacy that they will never get to them. Like, maybe I'll adopt after I have 2 kids of my own. And most of the time that day doesn't come, and I cannot force adoption on you. I'm saying that someone chose to adopt out of their own heart. They chose to give someone a whole life and everything, and I can't do anything but applaud that. Literally, I can't do anything but be so happy for that kid and so happy for Millie and what she's chosen. I'm so beyond the moon about it. And I would love to do that. And, yeah, there's kids out there who, and I'm not saying adoption is the perfect thing ever. There's lots of stories, but if you're willing and able to give the time, energy to a kid who needs, then please do. Okay? Goodbye.